Too busy to read? We bring you the heart of every book, fast, simple, and powerful. This is Book Nest, your shortcut to wisdom. Let's begin. Chapter 7. Backers, Goldman and SoftBank. In 1999, while the rest of the world was holding its breath over the dot-com boom, in Hangzhou, China, in a modest apartment filled with mismatched chairs and whiteboards scribbled with dreams, Jack Ma was doing something radical. He wasn't just building a company. He was building belief. But belief alone wouldn't fund growth. Alibaba had outgrown Jack's apartment. It needed cash. Big cash. The kind of money that would not only pay for talent and technology, but for time. Time to prove the model worked. Time to outrun the competition, both foreign and local. This is where the game was about to change. It was now a race, not just to scale, but to survive. And Jack knew he had to win over two very different giants from two very different worlds. One was the king of Wall Street, Goldman Sachs. The other, a mysterious, deep-pocketed Japanese investor with wild ambitions, Masayoshi Son, the head of SoftBank. Two global financial forces. Two very different visions. And Jack Ma, caught in the middle. In late 1999, Goldman Sachs was already eyeing China's internet scene. Their team, led by tech-savvy investment bankers, had scouted Alibaba and liked what they saw, or at least what they thought they saw. Alibaba was raw. It had no revenue, no proven business model. But what it did have was Jack. His charisma was magnetic. He made even skeptics lean in. He pitched Alibaba as a global bridge for small businesses, a digital Silk Road. And Goldman was intrigued. Still, they didn't go all in. Goldman's offer, $5 million for a 50% stake. That's right, half the company. For Jack, the terms were suffocating. But he also knew he needed this credibility. And Goldman Sachs brought prestige. A ticket into the big leagues. He accepted, but with conditions. The money would be split into tranches. And Jack would retain key control clauses. The deal was done. At least, the first deal. While Jack was still saving the ink on the Goldman papers, a new player arrived with unmatched ambition. Masayoshi Son, the founder of SoftBank, was a billionaire already famous for early investments in Yahoo and other internet pioneers. He was a man who could see 5 moves ahead and was willing to bet big on his vision. Jack flew to Tokyo to meet him. No PowerPoints, no pitch decks, just Jack Ma in a small room with Masa-san. Their meeting lasted 6 minutes. That's all Masa needed. "I look for the eyes," Son later said. "I can tell from the sparkle whether a person has the charisma, the guts, the ambition." And Jack's eyes? They burned with all three. SoftBank offered $20 million. That's 4 times what Goldman gave, at a much higher valuation, and crucially, with far less control over Jack's vision. Jack was stunned. It wasn't just the money. It was the trust. Goldman had given him a leash. Masa's son handed him wings. But now, Jack faced a delicate situation. He was already locked into a deal with Goldman Sachs, who were not happy to be diluted by a newcomer, especially one writing a bigger check. The tension grew. Meetings turned heated. Goldman wanted Jack to slow down, to avoid taking on more investors so quickly. They feared their stake would be crushed. But Jack saw something they didn't. Alibaba's fight wasn't with local rivals anymore. It was with time. And time was running out. While the boardroom battles brewed, Alibaba was rapidly evolving. New offices, more staff, a clearer platform. It was becoming a real company, fast. But Jack knew what many didn't. eBay was coming. The global titan, eBay, had begun its own foray into China. Jack couldn't afford to fight that war with just $5 million. He needed SoftBank's $20 million like a soldier needs armor. So he made his choice. He took the money. And just like that, SoftBank became Alibaba's largest shareholder. Goldman Sachs? Not thrilled. But they stayed on, and in time, would make one of the most profitable exits in their history. Still, it was Masa's son who would go down in history as the man who saw Alibaba before the world did. This investment wasn't just money. It was a message to the world, to competitors, to future employees. Alibaba was serious. It now had global backers. And it had something even more valuable than capital. It had time. Goldman Sachs and SoftBank represented two poles of capitalism. Goldman, cautious, structured, driven by risk and return. SoftBank, bold, vision-driven, willing to lose 99 times to win once. And Jack? He played them both like a maestro. He used Goldman to build credibility. He used SoftBank to build scale. And he never forgot who held the pen. Through all of this, he kept majority control. Jack Ma didn't just raise money. He raised power. The money poured in. The team expanded. Alibaba prepared for its next chapter. But the storm clouds were already forming. eBay's arrival in China would spark a brutal war. One Jack wasn't sure he could win. But with $25 million now in hand, and belief from two of the world's most powerful investors, he had a fighting chance. And that's all Jack ever needed. In Silicon Valley, venture capitalists chase ideas. In China, back then, they chased survivors. Jack Ma wasn't the smartest engineer. He wasn't even an engineer. But he believed when no one else did. He convinced Goldman Sachs with strategy. He won over SoftBank with soul. And in doing so, he set Alibaba on a collision course with destiny. The money had arrived. Now, the real war was about to begin. Like this chapter? Hit like, subscribe, and don't miss Chapter 8, Burst and Back to China, where we uncover how Alibaba nearly fell apart and what brought it back from the brink. This is Book Nest, your shortcut to wisdom.